What a better way to start the year. A firm decision to do or not to do something. Resolution. Happy New Year, everybody. My name is Linda Alela. It's great to see you again this beautiful year, and we're all eagerly waiting to see what the year has in store for us. As always, one would say that, things don't sound so rosy, but all the same, we keep hope high. So happy New Year. Good to have you. And I'm looking forward to take you through all these sessions every other time. Keep updating you, informing you, entertaining you. So welcome on board to New Day this morning. And of course, even as we take a look at what the year has in store for us, they keep saying 2020 for the Luya people. I don't know how a tongue twister that is going to be, but all the same, we're here to make merry, and thank God there are very many people who would have wanted to see this year, but they were not able to. Let me not go to that level, because I'll start preaching, I'll start crying, I'll start thinking, I'll start remembering my tough times back then. But all the same, we are grateful to see yet another year. 2020, a year full of blessings, a year full of hope is all we can bank on, is all we can count on. And today we are all about talking about the resolutions. Like, what resolutions have you made for the year? How many of them did you make last year? How many of them did you achieve? How many did you achieve? You decided that you're going to lose weight. You decided that you're going to add weight. You decided that you're going to focus more on ensuring that your parents are happy. Focus more on education. Focus more on your family. Not focus on whatever it is that you had decided. But moving forward, have you achieved what you wanted to achieve? In the event that you did not, do you carry some of the resolutions to the next year, or do you proceed with new ones? What really could have altered you from setting up these resolutions or from achieving the resolutions? Do we really have to have resolutions in the first place? Welcome on board. Let's get to share our experiences. Let's get to hear what it is that you said you're going to do and you certainly were able to achieve. I'll be sharing some of my experiences, though sometimes they say they should be personal. And we also get to ask the guest of the day whether sometimes it's good to involve other people on the resolutions that you make, because maybe they would help keep you in check, or they would remind you that, you made this resolution, so you have to focus on ensuring that you attain them. And most of the times people will view them as goals. So have you achieved your goals for the year 2019? If you did not, coming to 2020, what are you looking to achieve before it's mid-year, before it's, I don't know what year, the end of the year or whatever? What's important is that you're able to achieve what it is that you have set. Discipline above everything. So welcome on board the guest of the day, of course, Sky V. Ken. Good to have you, mentor and author.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
I had you sometimes last week, and It was great.
Lovely.
And of course, we're looking forward to a great discussion in regards to New Year resolutions. We don't want to be so tight on each other, because then, or on everyone, because sometimes we look at resolutions as though this is something that needs to make you tight and focus and all that. It's good to focus,
Exactly.
but sometimes it's equally good to stay loose, because it's not always that you'll be successful. If you do not achieve, then do you go ahead and kill yourself because you did not achieve your resolution? Certainly not. And the next guest of the day, good to have you. It's been a minute. I think people need to hear your voice again.
Happy New Year.
Yes, only that? Where did you disappear to?
I've been around.
Is a coach?
Doing business.
Doing business.
Yes.
What is a business? Gani hizo umefanya? Zimeleta pesa. Clearly zimeleta pesa from the way you look.
Exactly. We do a lot of life coaching. We do corporate training. And I also am in mentorship.
All right, great,
so
David.
Thank you. Those things are meant to transform our society.
All right, and we'll always love, to have you on board.
Thank
so
you.
Don't forget us so much. So even as you do all these things, because then your advices, your mentorship programs, the kinds of content that you bring on board every other time we have you, are transforming lives out there. So it's important that we equally have you.
Thank you.
And today we look forward to hear whether indeed you had resolutions, and maybe the businesses that you're talking about are some of the resolutions that you have achieved.
Yeah.
So for David Kuria, thank you so much for your time. He's a life coach. Says we proceed. What were your year's resolutions? At least 2 mbili tatu zile uli achieve na zile huku achieve.
Number one, I had intended to write a book about mental disorders or mental wellness.
Right.
Right now it is out. I have finished. It is ready for publishing.
Nice.
To be published by the end of February.
Good.
So that is one resolution that I am proud that I have managed to to accomplish. The other thing is exercises, what I have not accomplished.
Yeah.
I had said every day I would do exercises for 30 minutes, but I did it
That is the
for a
toughest one.
week, 2 weeks, but
You relax.
you know, I saw a meme yesterday and it was saying, I purposed at the beginning of the year to lose 15 pounds,
Okay.
but now I have only
100.
20 pounds to lose, meaning that they have increased instead of decreasing.
Yeah.
So there are those things that we have set in the beginning of the year, but certainly we are not able to achieve them because of various reasons.
As you celebrate the ones you've achieved, do you
Yes.
sort of feel so bad because of the ones that you've not achieved?
Not really. You see, resolution is a goal,
Right.
and not all goals you'll be able to meet in life. You have to be realistic. Sometimes you'll set goals, and because of reasons, we may not be able to attain them. Like if I said I will go to US, and I don't have the ability to go, it doesn't mean I have failed in life. I will try again. You know, you fall once, and then you are ready to
Pick
move
up yourself.
on.
I like that
Yes.
example, and I'll bring it to Ken. He says that some resolutions you set up, and you're not able to achieve them, not because you did not do things right, but because, you know, they're just things that bar you or, you know, limit you from achieving them. But there's one that he just picked, and, you know, that one is something that he was able to achieve. I can tell that for free. You know, like if you say you're going to exercise for 30
minutes per day.
a day. Sincerely, that is something he was able to achieve. And at times we make resolutions, and we know very well that we're capable of achieving this. But again, we just get lazy somewhere, we just lag behind, and then we find ourselves having not achieved this. Then we sort of feel like, you know, we will start condemning ourselves. Is it right? Is it unfair? Is it being unfair to yourself when you condemn yourself at this point, when you know very well you are not able to achieve this, or you did not achieve this, yet you are capable of doing it?
I think loving yourself too much sometimes is also not very good.
Okay.
You need to call yourself to a meeting.
Right.
Get yourself to understand, why did I not achieve this? And if it has a lot to do with you,
Right.
get to be accountable for that.
I hope you've started calling yourself for the meeting, now that you did not.
I think he should get me to become his accountability partner.
Thank you.
So that I put him on check on what he has decided to do.
Right.
So sometimes it's very important to call yourself to a meeting and condemn yourself a bit, not too much, but a bit, so that you get tough on yourself and pick it up from where you left it.
Amazing. Of course, you know, we're not leaving you off the hook. Your resolutions, one that at least you achieved and one that you did not achieve.
One beautiful achievement I had, sounds weird, but I got to a bigger house.
Wow.
And this kind, vacating from one house to another, it takes me time.
Right.
So I was like, I need to go to a bigger house because I was taking care of a few other things.
Right.
And I said, I have to do this. And guess what? I'm in a new house.
Yeah, amazing. That's good. That is a good one, yeah?
I said I want to get married this year. It didn't work out.
Oh, no. Okay.
That didn't have a lot to do with me. It had to do with the partner that I was engaged with.
Yeah.
Things didn't really work out as I wanted. I think we'll get to that when people from the other end derail you. What do you do?
All right.
So that hurt me a bit. But guess what? 2020 is coming.
And
we're already
you
here.
want to carry that resolution to this year?
Exactly.
All right.
This
That's
year, let's
amazing.
do something.
That's good. And I think we'll also talk about being open with the resolutions that we
Yes.
make, because
Yes.
sometimes we sort of make them so personal to ourselves that we do not achieve them, but we just want to choose to keep them to ourselves. And guess what, for me? And I don't know whether this is good, this is healthy or unhealthy. So came last year, or this year, of course. That is... This is this year. I want to start by saying that I'd want to set up my own resolutions. But now, looking at the fact that 2019 came in and, you know, sort of went, the very first time, that was in January, I sort of felt like I did not want to set resolutions because I had been disappointed the previous, that is in 2018, when I had set up goals. I don't know whether they were just way too beyond or way too above the bar. And I probably was not able to, you know, sort of achieve a majority of the resolutions that I had set. So I said, 2019, freestyle is the way to go. Are there dangers to that? Because there are times you sort of feel like, enough is enough. Why should I set up things that I'm not going to achieve? Why should I set up things with all these, you know, barriers to it? So moving forward, is there anything wrong with not setting resolutions?
There is everything wrong with never setting resolutions.
Oh, really?
Because a resolution, as you have said, is a goal. And you say if you don't know where you are headed, then you can never be lost.
Right.
You are headed nowhere, and that means you need in life to start a new start should start with new things. And one of the things that should be there is a goal where you intend to be at the end of a certain period of time. So, but as you're saying, there are so many people who will start a journey or these resolutions, a journey of the year, and the resolutions in the midst of time, because of complacency or other reasons, they fail to pull through them. A good example is like the one I have said. Probably I have said I will exercise every day, and then somebody gets an accident. You are condemned to a wheelchair. I'm just giving a sad example. That means you are not able to do what you had intended to do. Right. So, number one, there can be those occurrences that make you feel or unable to just accomplish. The other one is complacency. You may just feel you are not feeling like doing it anymore. It is not that it is bad, it is not that it's boring, but then in the course of time, you get yourself getting used, having reasons why you should not do it. And that is what you call complacency. And that is the major cause of people making resolutions, and then they leave halfway.
All right. Okay.
Yes.
So then there's some critical essence of us having New Year resolutions. And let's just get to that bit before I come now, of course, to the structure of questions that I have. That factor where now that we're talking about resolutions and sometimes you're not able to achieve them because there are things that derailed you, there are people who derailed you. So then how do you get to deal with such? How do you look at these people? You know, when you know that very well that this is the person who stopped me from achieving what I wanted to achieve. This is the thing that stopped me. Sometimes you look at this glass and you want to crush it because then you're thinking, if it weren't there, then I would have been on the next or the other side of the coin. So how do you just get to deal with such?
Let me say that reviewing what you achieved should not be a duty. It should be a delight. Like, this life is not very long.
Right.
And time is really running. And there are things probably you want to achieve before a certain time. And we have people who really understand where you're going. Right. Others don't. And it's not a mistake that they don't understand. I take it from this point. Probably it's my mistake that I even involved you in the first time if you didn't understand what I really wanted and where I wanted to go.
Right.
So it should be my delight that, guess what, you derailed me. I was supposed to go here and I was not able to get there courtesy of you. I think it is time we call it quits.
Right.
Go your way, let me go my way. Especially for people who do it intentionally. There are people who don't want you to go where you want to go because they're just selfish. They have their own selfish desires. I think this brings the issue of you need to be tough enough to let some people go, and you need to be wise enough to let some people come. So I think you need to do an evaluation of the people that you are with. And now that this is a new year, I also talk about, vet your friends.
Sure.
Vet them. Get to know what value did you add to me last year? Am I willing to maintain you to add me the same value? Or guess what you did to me was not what I wanted. Right. Let me push you a bit further. Some of these people, you will not push them very far, but don't get them closer to the circle of the decisions that you make. So it is important that you look at what you achieved. Right. And if in case there was somebody who derailed you, get to decide what you need to do with them. Either push them very far away or away from the decisions you're making every day.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right.
I would have a take on that.
Yeah.
It depends with the situation.
Right.
For example, you have goals with your wife, and your wife is not frugal. Is not frugal, and you had intended to save. You are not going to push that person away. What you will do, you will just understand.
Right.
Sit down together and agree the way forward, because there is no way you can now push your wife away because she is overspending, for sure. That is why I'm saying for people who derail your resolutions, you need to actually deal with each and every one from a different angle.
You know, when you bring the aspect of marriage, it becomes crucial, because I have heard this a lot, that sometimes you really want to do something as a man, or you really want to do something as a woman, but your partner keeps derailing you in a way. So then you reach a point whereby you have to make decisions. And there are times that you're told you're not supposed to hide anything between yourselves, because then you're one body. And then somebody else tells you, you know what, if you really want to achieve this, let it be a surprise to them. Just do it under the water. Just keep it away from them. So at least you're able, you know, that is why it was this. They would go out there and they buy land, and then woo, they surprise the woman that yes, here is land. Because they probably thought, if I were to tell, and maybe out of experience, if I were to tell her that I am planning to buy this piece of land, she'd be like, no, that is not the best place, or this. And then before you realize it, even the little money that you had has vanished.
That is true. We all say that when making a decision in marriage, we should always consult. But there are some times as the head of the family, a man has to make very tough decisions.
Okay.
You see, if I have a car and I need something so dire, probably I need to do a new house. A house probably I've been renting for the rest of my life, but now I need to do a house. But you have a car. It is very hard to convince your wife, I'm going to sell the car, which you go to church every day, every Sunday, or we go everywhere with it. It would be very difficult. But now when you weigh the options, sometimes you may take hard decisions. You do it and then unamwambia, babe, I have done it.
Well,
yeah, I have done it.
Sometimes as hard as saying, let's call it quits. You know, we're not the first ones to divorce. Sometimes as hard as that.
Although now, when it comes to
it has to be very
divorce, it has to be something that is serious, because I usually say when it comes to divorce, probably is when a marriage becomes so violent. That is when probably you can think about divorce and also cheating in a bigger way. But the other things, I think you can be able to agree. Finances, social behaviors and character, I think those are things you can look at, but divorce is quite a big one.
That's on another spectrum.
Yes.
All right, that aside, let's come to now, of course, the factor of resolutions, because that's what we're talking about. And in your day-to-day, you know, life as a mentor, activities and all that, you know, having grown and getting to interact with people, they'll always tell you, you know what, this was my resolution, this was it, this is what I planned. You equally sort of have that experience. Do you really think that people suddenly are always focused and are so much so towards ensuring that they achieve their resolutions? Or it's just like it's fashionable, is the in thing, is what people are talking about. And that's the reason why I started by, you know, talking about a resolution, like what is a resolution? Because some of the people will tell you, I want to make New Year's resolutions, but they technically do not understand what a resolution is all about, you know? And sometimes they make resolutions that really would not advance their lives in any way. Because what, of course, they say here is that a resolution should come in to ensure that it helps you change a desired trait, you know, it helps you accomplish a personal goal, or otherwise improve your life. So sometimes you just make a random resolution without understanding what really a resolution is. Then that point we would confidently say that these are people who would not even be able to achieve some of these resolutions.
Allow me to approach that question from a story I once heard from my pastor. So my pastor wanted to lose some weight. So he knew I have to go to the gym. So when he went to the gym, he went around. He looks at this machine and he tries it and goes to the next, tries it. So at the end of the day, he went around the whole gym, trying different equipments. And at the end of his day, came across the trainer. The trainer looked at him and told him, what you're working on is intensity, while you should be working on consistency.
All right.
I believe some of us have resolutions because we want to make the world focus on us. I want to buy a V8, not because I really need it, because I want when I come to New Day, when Linda goes
Linda
to the
steps
parking,
out to say goodbye to you, and yeah, the parking is...
The parking is speaking more than I am saying. So when we are doing resolutions, we need to make sure we are consistent on them. Because some of these things that we are writing down, they're not things we'll achieve tomorrow. They will take some time. So before you even commit to a certain resolution, just get to know, am I really willing to be consistent on it? If I want to lose some weight, am I willing to focus on one thing for a certain time, then go to the next? So yes, there are people who do resolutions just for the sake, because it's a norm. But I think we need to get to the place where I'm making this resolution because it's really needed for me and because I want to better my life. So let the end game of a resolution be to better your life, not just to prove a point.
All right, and in this case then, David, would we say that a resolution should be limited to a certain, like the year as it is, the New Year's resolution should be limited to that particular year, or equally it should be, say, work in progress? You make a resolution that is going to help you towards achieving something, even if it's a long-term goal, not necessarily a yearly or an annual factor.
What happens even when companies make a 30-year strategic plan, they always break it in quarters.
Okay.
So each year is like a quarter for us, where we tend to evaluate how much have I attained. You know, you can know how much you have attained within a year.
Right.
So that is the essence of setting for a year. But though you have your lifelong plan, probably you have 20-year plan, 5-year, like you hear people talking about 10-year plan for their lives. But it is very necessary to set a long-term goal, but it is also very necessary to set a short-term, whatever, for a year. But the thing is, when you make a resolution, don't make a resolution that is too huge, a huge leap. That is the problem that we have. When you say that you are going to do so much within a very limited time.
Is there anything wrong with being ambitious?
It is all right to be ambitious, because all of us are ambitious by nature. But then when you make a very huge, unrealistic goal, it tends to make you even slow down. Have you ever seen a guy who is number 60 in a race where you know, number 60, that guy, even if he has speed,
even if who you are,
I'm telling you, even if who you are,
even if you're Eliud Kipchoge,
that guy will slow down because he's seeing the first guy very far from him, and that is how a long leap, those high goals and the ones that you make that are beyond us fail to materialize at the end, because finally you lose hope.
And you start blaming it on God and saying that now God really...
Exactly. There are people who say this year, by April I shall be married. You know, that is a very big, and probably is a lady or even a gentleman. You know, marrying is not just taking a girl and putting her in the house. That is what you are saying. You may have goals, but don't let them. Probably you don't even have a girl. That is the example I'm making. But in your mind, you are saying by April. The resolutions should be incremental. As per, you should set small steps to allow you to be able to get where you want to go. Because if you don't that, you shall. If you don't do that, you shall be tired in the way.
Well,
and that is why, by the way, the goals you set at the beginning of the year, some of them, if you look at them retrospectively, you shall see you set very high goals for yourself until by the end of January 31st,
you're like, going easy on yourself. Let me reduce.
It's good to stay freestyle now. And that is what happens.
More has happened.
But don't talk about the process or the end before the beginning, because it shall be a big disappointment.
All right. Well, well, not to try and contradict that, or maybe, I don't know, I just need to understand that, because then there's the godly factor in things, yeah? Whatever religion that you come from, there are times that people set goals and they set their eyes on God. And you know what, no matter what happens, even if they share, they will always believe that, you know, this is a promise that I'm getting from God. And at the end of the day, he's not a liar. So eventually this will be achieved. So in such a scenario, how do you get to balance that belief in God and that aspect of prayer and that aspect of, you know, involving other people, so at least at the end of the day, you're able to achieve this, and you say, no, this took the hand of God for me to be here, as opposed to, you know, the hand of human beings, as opposed to the fact that, oh, saying that I prayed, but then again it did not happen. Maybe it's because I told so and so and all that.
Now, when I talk about mentorship, I advise people, go for a quality mentor, somebody who understands their thing. I hope it is not bad to disagree.
Yeah, sure.
It's not at all.
I believe there are people who want the best of you. And I believe there are people who are out there to see whether whatever you have will even work. I believe, one, when you have an idea, take it to God in prayer and let him know, this is what I really desire to do. One, let your will be done. Number two, these are my desires. Please, let your will be done. Secondly, I believe that there are people God places strategically in your life. One, to help you shape out your ideas. My school of thought is sometimes you don't comprehend the whole idea, but then you have this seed that needs to be dropped in a certain ground to be able to grow. Probably this ground is the mind of people who have done something before. So sometimes in the desire to really, you know, I want to achieve this on my own, sometimes people have made wrong decisions and they keep repeating it and repeating it and repeating it. I come from this school of thought where I have a short lifespan. 100 years or so. So the next century, probably there will be another Sky Weekend coming. So what I need to achieve, I'm time bound. So this idea that I have, can I have somebody that I can go and entrust and tell them, you know what, this is what I want to do. What are your thoughts? Number one, this person should be trusted. It's not like anybody. I don't just walk up to the streets and say, guys, come.
But how do you discern? How do you get to know that this is a person I can trust?
One, they should be people who've walked the journey you want to walk. Because I believe whatever we want to do, it's not like it's not been tried before. Sometimes, you know, it's even important to go listen to people who failed.
Right.
Why? Because they'll tell you the reason I failed. All right?
So you won't...
So that you won't go that direction.
Part, yeah.
So it is important for me that when I have an idea, I don't just go and tell everybody that this is what I want to do, but I have somebody I trust, and I go tell them this is what I feel I need to do, so that they even tell me, don't step on this stair, don't go to that stair, look at this one. That will help you climb faster. Secondly, I have a thing against some Christians who really trust God so much that they don't go out there to look for information. They become so ignorant. You know, there are people who really speak in more tongues than the United Nations together.
I know.
So when they go to church, they really pray a lot and all these things. But then they lack knowledge. They're ignorant.
They don't research on
They don't research. And sometimes you will agree, this research may not be on books. This research may be on New Day show. So you need to listen and get information from a certain man or a certain woman or a certain mentor. So I believe there is a place of God and there is a place of humanity. Because God will not give you the idea to make a bulb. You will have to research because it has been made before. God might give you the power, the ability, and because he has given you the mind, why don't you do some research and get to give us a bulb? That is my school of thought.
Okay, well, that's interesting. And I think on that note, we leave that one and we cross over to the pressures of life, the pressures of society, the pressures of peer, the pressures of, you know, just generally getting into something even before it's time. And we always say there's a time for everything. But clearly, today, I'll tell you there are people who are making resolutions based on the pressures of social media, what they see on social media today, and they say, oh, she achieved this. You know, she's miles apart, I will certainly work towards achieving that. And there's nothing wrong in admiring, I think they say so, there's nothing wrong in desiring. But then, like you rightfully put it, should you desire to that point whereby it's way beyond you and you still are struggling to get to that point. So when you look at the pressures of life, oh, so-and-so is married, oh, the society expects me to be at this point at this time, so I think I have to set my goals based on that. What are the dangers of that? Or what is the wrong bit about that? Or is anything wrong with setting your resolutions based on the pressures that surround you?
Wow. Everyone walks at their own pace.
Yeah.
There is a child who was born yesterday.
Don't you think there's a standard pace for society where you say, okay, at 27, at 28 now you should be having this person you're dating and they should be serious. You know, there are times we used to be told that at 21, bado, ngojea kwanza, like really sincerely, you should not get serious with any man. Then wait until 25 now, start looking at a serious person, start dating this person and listen to them carefully. It should be headed towards marriage. Okay, well, at this point, you should have achieved your degree at this point. You should have achieved this and this at this point. Some people will even kill to be where they're supposed to be, or what dictates, it is dictated as, of course, by the society.
I agree. The societal pressure is so much. When you're not married, they're asking when you're going to get married. When you get to marry, they're asking for a kid. When you get a kid, they're asking for another one.
Yes.
So these pressures never end. And what we are today is because of socialization, those pressures that we got and how we grew up. But I think we need to start our grounds. As a person, you have really to take yourself as yourself. And you say, now, this is David. This is what I want with my life. You know, people don't live your life, but they want you to live in a certain standard way. And most of all, can I remind you something? Your parents would have wanted us our parents would have wanted us to get an A.
Yeah.
But if you happen to go to their records,
which they keep saying they also got A's.
They also got A's. You would be surprised that even the certificate was not available because they didn't make a grade that could be put in a certificate. But they are the ones that are giving us so much pressure.
Yeah.
To be able to deliver. What if now, as a person, you say there's a new year resolution, you are not going to be pressured anymore. You are going to walk at your own pace. Right. It is also good to challenge yourself. We are not putting that you are not supposed to challenge yourself. Being able to challenge yourself is the best way to move forward.
Right.
For sure. But then you don't allow that pressure to build up so much until you feel like what you are saying unworthy. You are important the way you are. You are good enough. If you are not married by the age 28, you are good enough. You know, I looked at somebody like Sinach. She got a baby at 46.
Wow.
And we have so many examples of people. I watched a movie yesterday of a woman who marries at 70. It is true. Some people will find a mate at 16, and they will marry by the age 18. It is true, from high school. Some others will stay until the age 60, and they will get their mates. So it is not about pressure, because this pressure is what has led to a lot of emotional distress that has resulted, number one, into people delving into very bad behaviors. You see why people do very weird things? It's because their esteem has been so much affected that they want to prove a point. And that is the same thing. When you are so much pressured, you can do anything, including killing yourself. So it is time we looked at ourselves as very important first. Whoever you are, you know, identity is key. You do not identify. It is not your society. It is not your family. It is not the peer group. It is not the social media that will give you identity. You have a unique identity by yourself. And this identity is placed on you by your manufacturer. And each and every season has what it produces. You may not be married by the age 31, but you trust that you are going to be married one day because none shall lack her mate. You may not have had a job by the age 30 after graduating at 23, but still your time is coming. We should never lose hope, because what makes people do weird and make weird decisions is because of losing hope, because of bowing to pressure of the society and the things of the society.
All right. Okay, I would have chosen not to say this, but I'll say it nonetheless. Easier said than done. That's a reality on ground.
Right.
That, you know what, you can wake up and say, you know, it's about me. Nobody really cares. But you know that thing eats you up. That, you know what, I am a woman. As the society will keep telling you that, you know, Kishafika 30 and you're a woman, just get scared. And sincerely speaking, in as much as you want to say, no, it's about me and everything, something inside of you keeps eating you up. So we'd want to know towards the last minutes of the program, how do you grow to that point whereby you will think about yourself? But before you say anything, let's first of all talk to Viken, who deals with young turks, who deals with people who are so much so into the life of social media and the pressures that are within that. And we keep talking about it. Like, you know, social media came on board on a 50-50 basis. With 50% goodies and 50% bad.
Right.
So what is it that you're picking from this? Which side of the 50 are you? Or this side or this side? And that's why you said some people will want likes because they are making business, and that is positive. Somebody else will want likes just because, yeah, everyone has likes, and you know, you just want to look good, and you want to have a sense of belonging and all that. So when you deal with these young turks, I mean, how do you advise them to live beyond the bar of social media, to live beyond the bar of peer pressure, to live beyond the bar of the society? Like he says, just get to that point whereby you say, you know what, it's about me and not what the society thinks about me.
When I'm talking to young peers, I allow them to understand who they really are. Because sometimes what the media does is that it comes to define us. It comes to tell us you're not good enough if you do not get 500 likes. It comes to tell us if your makeup has not been appreciated by a certain man in Kayole, then you have not done enough. So when I'm working with these young people, I allow them to get to know who they really are, get to define themselves as God would define them, and how God would want them to live knowing they really are, so that when they're going to social media, it's not going to look for identity and people to love them. They are going out there to socialize as it is the platform for. Then we also tell them, getting to be celebrated on social media does not mean you've achieved so much. There's something on social media called boosting, especially when you have a page and you want likes. There's a way you pay Facebook some amount and they give you the likes.
Sure.
So sometimes when we are looking at these celebrities out here who have all these likes, sometimes it's not because they are so good. Sometimes they've chucked some money for the likes. So do not base your identity on what we tell you on the media, but get to know who you are in accordance to what God has defined you as. Yes.
All right, there you go. And coming to you, David, of course, towards the last bit of the program, getting to that point whereby you can overcome the pain that comes along with the pressure, in the sense that you can say, it's okay, this is what everyone expects me to have achieved by now. I have not. I cannot kill myself for that. And now accepting yourself the way you are, and accepting the fact that, you know what, you are the sole person who defines your life, of course, apart from God, who's the sole creator. And, you know, getting to that point where you say, actually, the society does not care. Sincerely speaking, you know, it has taken me a while. And I like using my experiences, because there are times when really the pressure of society was something to me. It meant something. Like, I used to move around, I'm thinking, wow, what are they thinking? What about Linda? Linda is on screen, so is she living the life that she's supposed to live? Until you outgrow that and you realize that there are battles you cannot fight. That is okay, I want to be rich overnight. I have not been rich, so should I start running away from myself? Should I start condemning myself? Should I develop ulcers, pressure, you know, high blood pressure, simply because I cannot accept the fact that this is what it is as it stands right now? How do I outgrow that? How do I get to that point and know, by the way, actually society does not care? Because in real sense, society does not care.
I want to say something. When one is sick and you're fundraising, very few friends
That's the
will come.
reality of the matter.
Wait until you die.
They will be
They
there.
will troop to your home with in a storm. And that is the reality of life. But now, answering your question, I will want to look at few points. Number one is finances. Let's go point by point in a very quick succession. Finances, how you even borrow loans from Tala, from Branch, from those online telcos, to be able to find to show your friends you are doing well. The most unfortunate bit is that you do that for them, they even don't recognize.
I know.
And eventually, Tala is calling you every day. Now, what do? You will borrow from your friends whom you want to impress.
To pay.
To pay Tala. But then, you will pick Branch.
To pay your friends.
To pay your friends. But then, you will borrow your other friends to pay Branch and Tala and your friends.
And to equally sustain yourself.
Yes. And what happens? At the end, you are left alone. You don't have friends because you can't want to meet them. You have their debts. And that is a sad story. That is what is happening today.
Truth. It's the truth of the matter.
The other thing is spending things where you buy your stuff. You will want, I'm talking about finances. You want to appear like you are doing well. Therefore, when your friends, probably they go shopping in upmarkets or they are vegetables in supermarkets, you know, an orange in supermarket costs, I think, 35. An orange in the market goes for 10 bob. Seriously, what are you paying for? What are you paying for? You are paying for a name that they don't even recognize. When you take the banana from the supermarket, it even tastes a bit not very fresh.
It's not as fresh
because
as
of the
it is.
refrigeration.
Yes, yeah.
So you put yourself under pressure that even you are not recognized for it. You know, it appears like it is normal. That is what I want to put in our minds. It appears as if it is normal. If you have friends, you are going shopping to the supermarket, they will not recognize that you have a high class because you have shopped in the supermarket. You understand?
Right.
That is financial. The other one is relationships. For ladies who are probably from 25 going forward, and they are not married. And they have a lot of pressure from everyone. And it is real. And it is killing them. Because every time they they smile, very good. But when they go to their closet, before they sleep,
I know.
they must cry a cup every night.
A cup full of tears. Let me sip mine.
Exactly. So what happens is that you need to call yourself a meeting. For sure, we need to call ourselves a meeting. We say, yes, I want to be married, but I cannot marry myself. And you also convince yourself that God's time is the best.
Right.
But still, you start improving yourself. If it is dressing, don't dress like a mama in the village. Don't dress, just try improving yourself.
Yeah.
If you are a lady, because most ladies are the ones that are affected. Right. Also, go to social places that you know you can get these good men that you want to attract.
It's a reality, though, yeah.
It's true. Don't pity party, but rather do something towards the goal that you want to achieve. Be sociable and don't be proud, because men have an ego. So when you take your pride to them, you combine an ego and a pride. That is a challenge. The other thing is mental wellness, because I've said we need to look at them just in a short while, just 1 minute. Mental wellness. You always feel you are not good enough. You feel this world, everybody should be happy except you. There are things that you should do for yourself in the new year. Number one, you can choose to to first think about how much negativity you have had and how it has either helped you or ruined your life.
Yeah.
Because you need even to write. I usually recommend writing down because it helps you to realize what I've been thinking about myself has really ruined me instead of helping me. Then from there, what do? Choose things like things that are going to bring life in you. Things that will show the best of you. Like find good friends that are going to encourage you and not demean you.
Right.
Go to exercises. You know, exercise, let me tell you,
Right.
has an aspect where when you are exercising, your brain will produce those hormones that we call endorphins. They are happy hormones. They make your whole body to relax. You find fun activities that are not poisonous.
Right.
Yani, do things that will enhance. Read books that will not put you more into depression, but will aid you. And the last thing is your spirituality. Finishing. Your spirituality is where you get your purpose. And until you know and live your purpose, let me tell you, you shall be a very discouraged person.
I know.
So what do? Set time every day, like 30 minutes a day, and have a quiet time. A quiet time is where you are with yourself, a biro and a pen, and you meditate. And let me tell you, the meditation we get from the Asian society is different from the Christian meditation.
Right.
In meditation in the Christian faith is where you sit with the scriptures. You sit down, read a certain portion of scripture, and whatever captures you, you start talking it. You start speaking that scripture, and it forms very good pictures. What happens when you do the quiet time? In the quiet time, you get your purpose, because it is in your spirit that the purpose was deposited. So the moment you spend time in the quiet time, you note down whatever you have had in your spirit. Let me tell you, you will never go wrong.
Nice.
Even your resolutions, you'll never go wrong. And that is why I advise people, be careful in the new year to spend time in prayer, in reading the word, because that is where great men have realized their purposes and they have walked it.
Nice, amazing. That is as good as a nice message for the new year. But of course, I'll equally give you a chance to give us your message for the year. I don't know who said that, you know, these great messages and wishes for the festive season should only come from prominent people. That, you know, when the president is the one who's wished you that, then it sounds like it's a big deal. I mean, we equally can stand on ground and say that, you know what, I'll give you this message for the year, this word for the year. And it probably is going to carry someone throughout the year. They'll keep saying that, you know, I watched New Day one day, and this is what I got for the year, and this is what I'm going to carry all the way. And of course, at some point, end of the year, they say, oh, this has transformed me in a huge, huge way. Like a story, once my teacher gave us, you know, somewhere when I was in class 2. I still hold that story up until today. And in a huge way, it has transformed my life, and it keeps transforming. So it's a continuous process. So we'll take a breather, and the last minute when we come back, of course, we'll just be giving you a chance, you know, like 30 seconds or 1 minute or so, to speak to the people, to tell them, you know, this is my message of hope for the year. This is my message to you for the year. This is my message in regards to your resolution as a mentor, as a life coach for the year. So we come with that after this short break. All right, so last year, this phrase, call yourself for a meeting, ama mnajiita mkutano peke yenu, was very common. And I think I'll just remind you that it's important that indeed you call yourself for that meeting. The speakers of the day or the panelists of the day have equally mentioned that it's equally important that, you know, once in a while, sit yourself somewhere. Jiite meeting, linda ule mraudi, linda ule mkalm, linda ule wa TV, linda ule wa nini. You just sit down and talk to yourself. And, you know, I mean, there's no better way to addressing your own issues apart from, you know, you sitting and figuring out what it is that you want. So it is that year where you need to call yourself for a meeting as early as now, then set your goals. If you did not set any towards the last, of course, month of the year, that is 2019, just sit down, angalia zile uliandika, zile you did not write down, make sure you write them down, and you know what, moving forward, just pick some of the lessons that we've talked about right here and see whether they're going to help you, whether they're going to come in handy towards ensuring that you achieve your resolutions. And as they would rightfully put it, where there's a will, there is always a way. So we all wake up and we hope for tomorrow, not because we know we're going to hit tomorrow, but simply because there is hope. There's that will, and certainly the heavens will always conspire to give you that way. So it was the last minute. I guess that should be my last bit of course, advice for the year. I must say it is great having you, and we're looking forward to do more and more of this. As always, we'll be here every morning, Ayub and I, to ensure that you're updated, you're entertained, you get to know what is happening. And we'll always be bringing the best of guests who are technocrats in the line of course, the topics that we'll be discussing, and also technocrats in line with, of course, everything that will have chosen for that particular day. The issues that face us as a people, matters economy, matters health, matters politics. We'll always be bringing people who are well conversant in that. And not forgetting the life coaches, the mentors, and everything. We have social sessions every other time. We discuss social issues as a people. And that's the reason why today we termed it necessary to look into your resolutions. So it is your time to just sit down and figure out what you have in store for yourself for the year. And I'll allow my guest to give us, of course, their last word of advice or their last word of motivation, even as we are set to face the year. I wish you the best of the year, that's for sure. It would be very much unfair for me not to say this. Sky Viken, mentor and author, and David Courier, life coach. So 1 minute, speak to the people as we get to call it a show.
Good morning, new day. Happy New Year. There was once a farmer who went out to do some farming. As he was going home, his donkey unfortunately fell in a ditch. And he was so discouraged because he didn't know how to correct that mess. So he decided, because I don't have anything to do, let me bury my donkey. So he scooped sand and he was burying the donkey in the ditch. But guess what? When he was almost done, he wondered why he saw his donkey again. And without noticing, when the donkey was in the ditch, every time he used to throw the sand in the ditch, the donkey used to shake off the dust and step on it. Shake it off and step on it.
Nice.
This new year, there might be so much that people will do to bury you. But guess what? If you keep on shaking it off and stepping on it, 31st of December 2020, you'll still be alive, and we'll see you out there shining and doing your best. Keep hope and always factor in God. God bless you. My name is Kai Viken.
Amazing right there.
Good morning. Happy 2020. 2020 is a new year, is a new day, a new thing. When placed in your hands, is a golden opportunity. You can choose what to do with it. But I want to tell you, you have an opportunity to show greatness that was deposited by your manufacturer in yourself. You can say that last year was good, but good is not better enough. You need to focus on being the best. And let me tell you, when you're setting your resolutions and going through the year, don't stress yourself. If you see difficulties in your way, pause a bit, relax, and then reconsider the next strategy to take on. I want to assure you that God loves you. In 2020 is a year that God is willing to take you to the next level, to expand you, and to help even the people around you. It is you to take courage. It is you to have faith in God and have faith in yourself, and you will succeed. Thank you very much. Happy 2020.
All right, and happy 2020, and we're looking forward to see you more. And of course, even as we get to enlighten the viewer back at home, it's very much important and critical that we have discussions that are of importance and are pertinent to our day-to-day livelihood. And of course, that's more like it.